Hello, my name is Priscilla Rozic, and today I'll be talking about my thrifting and flipping project for scenario. So first of all, what is the process and what is thrifting and DIY? Well, thrifting is a careful management of money, and that is because you are buying your clothes secondhand instead of firsthand from a manufacturer or shop. Second of all, DIY is the activity of decorating, building, and making repairs at home by oneself rather than employing a professional, hence the name DIY, which stands for do it yourself. So the process I took. First, I researched the importance of DIY and thrifting because I find it very important to know the purpose of your project so you can keep that in mind while you're doing it to know that it's meaningful. Second of all, I researched a bunch of different methods and techniques that I could use, so when it came to the next two steps, which would be choose an item to flip and a method, I would have many different options and a variety of things to choose from. Then I would test it out, perfect the item and make all the tweaks that were needed, and then I would repeat it to make sure that I like the item and its final outcome. Next, I'm going to talk about optional materials and methods that you can use at home. First of all would be a hot glue and hot glue gun. Then fabric glue, paint, dye, scissors, use items from a thrift store or your closet or a sibling's closet, don't have to fit you. Again, thrifting can involve alterations of sizes. A sewing machine, random craft supplies that you can find around your house, and a needle and thread. Methods could be tie-dye, which is a very popular one right now. Again, many different ways to do that, spiral, crumple, many different ones. You could add strings, mesh, lace, etc. Again, this is where the random craft supplies come in. Turn it into different type of clothing. You could bleach it, another popular method right now. You can embroider if you want to try and find a time to learn how to do that, which I have been trying to do over this time. Or you can make it simple and just do iron-on patches. So why should you buy secondhand? Well, you're saving money because when you buy from a thrifted store, usually the prices are at least half discounted off from what they were originally were. So you can buy items that you would usually wouldn't buy because they'd be more pricey. Also, you can get smarter buys because some people are impulsive shoppers, so they buy something right when they see it because they think it's cute, but then you might get home and realize that you're not as in love with the piece as you thought and you might want to return it. You could get unique finds because sometimes, and most of the times in thrift stores, there are products that are being sold that are no longer being produced or manufactured, and so you don't have to worry about having the same outfit as somebody else. Also, you have tons of creative potential because with DIY, you can do things from dye a certain fabric to completely change a dad shirt into a two-piece set. Also, it helps the environment in many different ways, one being it lowers your carbon footprint. So tons of energy goes into the manufacturing process of clothing and the distribution. So when you buy secondhand, you're preventing the waste of all that energy as well as the resources that are used to make the clothing items. Second of all, it aids in water preservation, and water consumption is extremely high at every single stage of clothing production, and so manufacturing, packaging, and transportation costs all add to this as well. It also reduces chemical pollution, so making cotton produces tons of pesticide-intensive air, causing the soil to be acidification, and the manufacturing process involves the use of harmful dyes, corrosive soda and untreated oil byproducts that are dumped into the surrounding area and could contaminate marine life and the waters around it as well as the soil from runoff. Also, it decreases landfill waste. So if more people start shopping for second-hand, less fabric ends up being dumped into the landfills, and also the packaging, all the plastic and stuff will be reduced, and that will help save the environment. It also increases green living. So by donating unwanted clothes to shipment stores and thrift stores, you will be encouraging others to do the same, as also providing a piece of clothing someone might be in need for. It also boosts the community development. So thrift stores provide employment and retail outlets as well as donation centers. Sometimes proceeds will go to charities, fundraisers, or local communities and projects, as well as they also employ the disabled, and so it overall helps the economy with employment. Lastly, it encourages recycling. So when you reuse or recycle clothes, you're actually decreasing the demand for the production, and you're encouraging the conservative act for others to do as well. So, some actuality facts about distribution and clothing from thrift stores is, on average, thrift stores in the United States only sell about 1/3 of the stuff that's actually on the shelves. And also the designer items are usually set aside as boutique, and the heavy furniture and exercise goes to the dump. So if you're looking for any of those equipment, they may not be at your local thrift store. The process in which sorting involves the first putting the clothes in bins, then you sort them by brand. For sanitary reasons, garments go to the trash, and then they end up in a landfill or an incinerator. And the quality of stuff that people are acquiring and donating each year is declining. So I hope that my project will help educate people about that so that they can hopefully help donate and help support their local thrift stores. Now we can get into the actual thrifts that I have discovered, and these I have made no adjustments to. So the first shirt that you can see is a Gildan Performance t-shirt. It retailed for about $20 and I bought it for $3.99. Same goes for the next Harvard t-shirt, retailed for $20 and I bought for $3.99. Next is the Maddie M leggings. They retailed for $95 and I bought them for $5.99. Next is Plato's Closet. So the Layer 8 quick dry leggings were retailed for $20 and I bought them for $8. The Nike Dry Fit long sleeve, it retailed for $30 and I bought it for $14. And the Burberry nylon large toe retailed for around $250 and I bought it for $20. This shows how some thrift stores, higher end ones like Plato's Closet, can provide designer items, but that also means the prices of their items are also upped. So these are some of the thrift flips that I did. So I DIY'd these items and made adjustments to them. The first item that you can see is the Trio 19 training pants. So on these, I took out the zippers on the side of them and replaced those gaps with some of the blue fabric from the item on your far right. And I used a sewing machine to do this, but then my sewing machine had a malfunction, it wasn't working right, so I tested out fabric glue, and I wasn't a big fan, which I'll explain later, so I used hot glue. Those pants retailed for about $45 and I bought them for $5.99. Next is a Nike Women's Dry Legend t-shirt. I added mesh to the middle of it with hot glue, and I got the mesh from leggings that you'll see later. And that one, in my opinion, was a fail because the lines, I didn't have enough patience and I executed it not very well. So that retailed for $25 and I bought it for $3.99. Next is a Bella Canvas 6,500 women's jersey. I cropped this with scissors. First, I tried using fabric glue. Again, didn't work for me. So then I used hot glue. And then later, when my embroidery skills get better, I will embroider a butterfly onto the center. That retailed for about $10 and I bought it for $3.99. Some other Goodwill thrifts that I found were the high-rise Hypertech Comfitech series leggings. So I cut off the mesh at the bottom, used for the previous shirt, and I turned them into spandex because I use this very often, and using hot glue. They retailed for $38.99 and I bought them for $5.99. Next is the woman's Pima cotton turtleneck. I used a zipper from the previous pants, and then first I used fabric glue and then hot glue to put it around the neck region. And in my opinion, this was a fail because the hot glue put marks so you could see it where it was used, and it just made it very messy, and I wasn't a big fan of it. I have it unzipped right now. And that retailed for $29.95 and I bought it for $3.99. Lastly, it's a Tennessee sweatshirt. I bleached this one and I would have hemmed the bottom and added a string, which I will probably do later if circumstance wasn't happening. So that retailed for $33 and I bought it for $5.99. In total, I saved $247 on my Goodwill purchases. The last couple items are from Plato's Closet. So the first shirt is a Hollister, California short sleeve red crop shirt, and I crumpled this and then put a bunch of bleach on it, and it retailed for $23 and I bought it for $7. Next is the LA Dreaming sweatshirt. I added a string from an old hoodie to the bottom using scissors, and I cut out the back and I threaded it through because it was hollow. Then I used a dot of hot glue in the back to secure it, hand stitched that shut, cut out 2 little slits in the very front to thread the strings through, and then I used clear nail polish to seal around the edges, and that retails for $18 and I bought for $10. Lastly, the Ivory Elle long sleeve t-shirt with a hood. I spiral tie-dye bleached this, and it retailed for $79 and I bought it for $8. Overall, I saved $353 on my Plato's Closet purchases. One quote I thought was very important, and it just made sense, was that you can't use up your creativity. The more you use, the more you have, which makes much sense with DIY. So some tips and tricks that I have acquired and have learned throughout this process I would like to share with you. First of all, don't limit yourself to just your size section, because some items can be misplaced, sizing charts are off, and again, the beauty of thrifting and DIY is that you can hem clothing and adjust it in any way that you want. Also, be patient and make sure you look through every item, because if you want to find good deals, some can be hidden, and you want to make sure you look at all your options. Also, look out for deal days. I know Goodwill has them, and I'm pretty sure other thrift stores around your local area should as well. Never leave your cart unattended. I can't stress this well enough, because people will grab things out of your cart, whether it's a thrift item or a personal belonging. Also, wash your clothes before wearing, just for sanitary reasons. Also, see a piece as a blank canvas and just a piece of fabric, because you can make many adjustments and alterations to it, or however you want. This ties in with don't be afraid to buy something out of your comfort zone. You can always adjust it and make it perfect and fit for you. And just because it's ugly doesn't mean it can't be beautiful. Again, try and see beyond the form that it is originally in, and try and look at the fabric and use your creativity to imagine how you could adjust it. And again, be creative and use your imagination and try to make a piece fit for you. So some places to thrift around your local area could be that I centered around Seneca, our East End Community Thrift, Plato's Closet, Highway Robbery Vintage, Goodwill, Repurposed for the Thrifty Shopper and You, and Red, White, and Blue Store. Some online apps that are accessible to everyone could be Poshmark, ThredUp, and The Real Real. So here are some alternatives that you could use instead of hand stitching. You could use fabric glue, a sewing machine, or hot glue. Fabric glue, I used Fabric Fusion, not a big fan of it because it left marks and it wasn't very strong. A sewing machine, I give an 8 out of 10 because it is pretty pricey and it does take a while to get the hang of, but again, one of the best alternatives for clean, neatness, and longevity for the clothes. Lastly, I have hot glue. I give an 8 out of 10 because it's very accessible to lots of people and it was very strong and durable. So if we weren't in these circumstances, I would have ordered from one or two online companies, at least 2 more thrift stores so that I could rank them for you and give you guys suggestions. I would have ordered a clothing rack to display all my clothes and had laminated cards on each of them to see before pictures and all the fine details about cost and retail. I would have tried to thrift decor items, because I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, but thrift stores don't just limit themselves to clothes, they have a bunch of decor items as well. And I would have worn a thrifted outfit to the showcase, as well as learned how to better work a sewing machine, sew and embroider, so that I could completely finish some other pieces that I have laying around. This is my work cited. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned a lot about thrifting and DIY, and I hope that you help contribute to your local thrift stores as well as try and buy secondhand. Bye.